But our mics are live. So I'm too excited to wait another 2 minutes to talk to Thorsten and get this thing sort of rolling. Though we'll give everybody a couple of minutes anyway, man. But dude, I cannot believe you came on this thing so quickly, dude. I appreciate that.
I got nothing going on. No, I'm obviously happy.
He waits every day for a message on Twitter to say join.
Why won't nobody invite me? I got the microphone, I got the lights, please.
You see, that's what happens. You know, when you get to your level, man, everybody thinks you're busy. Everybody thinks that you're constantly being, pulled. And what happens is nobody's talking to you. And you're alone. You're the lonely guy in the corner. Everybody thinks you're like going to the big parties. You're like, no, I'm not going to ask him. He's got to have like 10 parties. No. You're the one back in the hotel room all by yourself crying.
Yeah. Somebody sent me an email last week and they were like, you're probably too busy to reply to this. And it was the only email I had in my inbox. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I might as well reply,
I love that. I have to tell people all the time, I'm like, you're only bothering me if you don't bother me,
Yeah. Yeah, I love getting email from people. It's I like it. People send me lots of not lots of stuff, but I sometimes get emails where people are like, hey, I really like that blog post, or what do you think about this? And then you feel weird because somebody asks you for advice and you're like, I don't even have good advice for this, but it's still nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay. You have like a hard stop in like 50 minutes here. So
yep.
I don't want to waste too much time. And on this show, we don't prep or prepare for anything. We just go completely raw and live here. So let me tell you why I've asked you to come on, and then we'll get started. So I'm at the point where I'm 56. I'll be 56 in October, man. I've seen a lot of tooling sort of come, and the tooling over the last 10 years has been out of control, right? Just from linters to vetting to now sort of these AI
LSP,
assistants. And what?
LSP language servers, and
Oh
that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
last.
Let's like
That's
all
it.
this, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
and even though I've been coding for I don't even know professionally since let's just say I graduated in 1991. Um, I love the tooling. I'm not sort of anti. I am very minimalistic. If you look at my
Mhm.
editor, there's almost nothing. I can't handle all the squiggly lines, and I don't know if it's my brain, OCD, I don't know what it is, right? Like I'm a minimalistic guy, but I'm at a point right now where if you're not learning and effectively working with some form of an AI agent, you're falling behind. And this isn't about replacing you. This isn't about making you faster either, I don't think. I think it's, for me, it's about making you more productive, letting you get to the good parts faster, and being able to finally get to that backlog, which has been a joke for the last 10 years. Because the moment you
Yeah.
put a ticket in the backlog, you've basically said, we're never working on this, right? Like,
Yeah.
but we can't throw it out because it's important. Like, I think shops might finally be able to cherry pick things out of the backlog now. Maybe. But you know how it goes, right? When you're able to accelerate a little faster, the other features that you wanted 3 months from now sort of come up. So I don't think anything's gonna change in our lives with the Jiras and the ticket systems and the backlogs or all that. And I don't think there'll be less of us. But back to my point, if you're not learning how to use one of these tools, you're falling behind. And I'm not even sure you can be hired at some point. Like your interview skills are gonna show. So obviously, being a VS Code user, I started with the Copilot. And the autocomplete was great. That next gen thing was a nightmare. I keep that thing off. But the autocomplete was mostly not in my way. And thanks to Kevin here, I started asking that agent more questions in Google. And every once in a while, I'd let it edit some code, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then I had to do a bunch of Python work, which I am not a Python developer by any
Yeah.
stretch of the imagination. And I switched to Cursor because Cursor's agent was so much better for me for the languages that I didn't know. Like for Go, whatever, right? Like I'm intimate with that programming language, but for the Python and some of the JavaScript, next level, next level above whatever Copilot was doing. So now, um, constantly on Twitter, I'm seeing amp, amp, right? Like either Sourcegraph is doing a great job getting it out there, or people are just completely excited about it. But here's my thing, okay? Again,
Both.
I'm a simple guy. I like simple things. And every time I see a picture of somebody using AMP, my brain explodes because it's this 30-inch monitor. Dude, I live on a 16-inch monitor, okay? That's it. I live on this little monitor. Kevin knows. Because I travel so much, I refuse, even at home, to work on a big monitor because that's not my life, right? So every Twitter image is a monitor this big with 30,000 windows on it, amp running in like 7 of them, and my brain
Yeah.
goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that's too much. Like I don't understand it. I don't even understand." And I'm not a VI user. I'm not like Cursor, VS Code. Like, so this is why I wanted to bring you on. Because what I want to
Yeah.
do is here's the other thing I'm worried about. So one, I want to bring you on so we can onboard this on my machine. So I can get the most simplistic amp experience because it needs to be simple for me or I can't do it.
Yeah.
This is me aging out, okay? And then, and I'm not a strong terminal user either, to be honest. I know enough to get by. Here's the other thing that I'm really worried about with this tooling: cost. So, GitHub and Microsoft are making it free. What did Cursor cost us for the year? $100 or something like that. $120. I paid it. Whatever it is, I paid it. Right? $120 for me personal. I can afford that. I'm okay with it. Right? And it's fixed. Um, but I, what I'm afraid of is if I need tooling that's requiring me to sign up for third-party services that I can't run Olama locally or there's no fixed cost, then what happens next week when they decide that it's no longer affordable for me to use it? And I've now drenched myself. So these are things I want to talk about over the next hour as we set it up. And you already had a thought about that. So
yeah,
talk. All right, I'm done talking.
Let's do this. Once you sign up, I'll give you $100 on your AMP account, and then we can see how much you use it. And AMP is pay as you go, so you don't have to. There's no subscription cost. There's no. You just put $5 in and see how far that gets you. And if you don't use it for 2 weeks, it doesn't cost you anything. If you, to be,
but you see that scares the shit out of me, right? Because I think is this going to cost me $100 or is this going to cost me $500 or is this going to cost me $20?
It depends. I think you have to kind of figure out how to use it and when to best use it. And then once you know that, you can pick and choose. It's, to give you an example, I use it a lot, and I don't know, for me, I also use it for testing, so that's kind of hard to, I don't know, like, let's say,
but you get it for free. Let's be honest.
I get it for free.
Okay, you get it for free. But I work on Prediction Guard. I get it for free, right? Like with Prediction Guard, which is my client, I have access to all these APIs and models. Yeah, I get it for free, right? So what I want is to be able to run it Olama. Like if you told me I can have AMP talk to my local Olama, dude, I got an M4 here with more memory than I know what to do with, man.
Good enough. It's not good enough. It's you don't want Olama models. You want the good stuff. That's what we're building.
All right, we don't have a lot of time here, but
let's do it. So what editor do you use right now? VS Code, Cursor?
I have both Cursor and VS Code, but
whatever's more comfortable for you. Okay, let's do this.
Code. Let's do that because I don't want the cursor interfering with AMP, and I can turn off the Copilot in VS Code, right? Or run with it. Well, you'll tell me what to do here. So let me.
Yeah. So
let's do the following.
First, I'm going to switch over to sign up on ampcode.com, I think.
All right. So I got to go to ampcode.com.
Yes.
Okay. Everything is changing. Yeah. Where did you get the name AMP from, by the way? Do you know the history behind that as we do this? Let's see. Sign up. What does AMP stand for?
Nothing.
Okay. It's just a cool name that you got a domain for.
Man, it's a lot more boring than you might think it was. There's a lot of names already for a lot of tools, and it's hard to come up with something that is short and whatnot.
That's like, I think you guys need to sit down. The name is awesome, right? Because AMP.
I like the name. Yeah.
I need you guys to get into a room later today and get like a really cool story that you can put on the back of a diner menu. Back in 1856, Robert Henry decided to sell pancakes. Like something, something good, man.
We had like in our Slack, we were like,
oh, hold on.
Oh, we could say that AMP stands for aggressive mechanical programmer.
Hold on, I'm going to do this thing just in case I show a password. I'm going to cry here.
Yeah.
Hold on. That way you guys see me for a second. Continue. I got my password manager and all that, but this email is not available. I must have already signed up. Hold on.
Is it? Let me check.
Hold on. Let me see. I'm having everybody see me. Unless I did it with Google already one time. Oh, wait, I already had it in my password manager. Hold on.
There you go.
Oh, shoot. I already had an account, dude.
Ugh.
Okay. Nice. I already had an account. That's a nice graphic. There we go. Okay. William, no team, no threads. Okay. Now what do I do?
Now you go to... We wait until it stops rotating, and then something should show up, or it's going to be awkward. It's not going to show up. But actually, you can click on your name at the top right. I think you might have set it up already. Is that possible?
I think I turned it on, and I didn't know what I was doing, and then I switched. I bet you.
All right. Now you click on that thing. Install AMP for VS Code. There you go. And that should open.
Yeah, because this is a new machine, so I haven't done this in a while. Okay, let me bring this screen over here. All right, so that's kind of good.
You know how nerve-wracking this is if somebody tries your product live for the first time? This is killing me.
But it's
I'm
you, dude. I ain't
sweating. This
worried
is
about it.
crazy, guys.
But it's working.
Okay,
So
install the
I already
extension.
had. Okay, wait. Before I hit that button. So I did already sign up. So let's just take a look at
Yes.
this for a second. So I must have played with it at some point.
Yes.
I already
If you
had
scroll up.
$100 of free.
No, I just gave you $90.
Oh, you gave it to
Most
me.
users, modulo scam detection and blah blah blah, suspicious emails, they get $10 to try it out. And I just gave you 90 more so we can try this out here and not run into.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
And if you scroll to the very top, it should say threads. There you go, next to the AMP logo in the top nav bar. No, top.
Team
Left.
threads. Yes.
There
yes.
you go, threads. Yeah, and a thread
Can I
is
click
if you click on this, yeah, it's a conversation. So if you click on this, you can see what you've done, and you can then also turn this into a publicly shareable URL, and then that way you can share what you did with somebody else. And that's actually
AMP?
like an
Wait. This is everything I've ever done with AMP.
one thread. I think you
Like
created an
a
agent.md
conversation.
file.
Oh,
Yeah, it's one conversation.
that's interesting. Why that? This is interesting to me. So everything I'm doing is being recorded.
Well, this is private just for you. Yeah, but it goes through our server. Yeah.
That's interesting. So there's a history of what's happening. Is this?
Yeah. It's for people who use it in companies, it turns out a lot of people. I mean, you know this, right? As somebody who does trainings and whatnot, there's a big divide between people who are productive with AI tooling and others who aren't. And in companies, the ability to share what you did is huge because
that's
they
like auditing.
Not auditing it. Well, that too, right? But it's more like, like this person doesn't have any success with AI tooling, and then the senior engineer who uses this 15 times, 50 times a day, they can say, look at what I'm doing. And then when you log in to ampco.com, you can see what your other people in the team are doing. Okay. So
That's
it seems
crazy.
like you're logged in, it's working, so you can
Okay, let's do a couple things here. All right.
Yeah.
You have to. My brain doesn't move that fast, so just bear with me for a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is the AMP tooling right here.
Yes.
All right, and I still have all of this Copilot stuff. So
yeah,
I've got AMP tab here.
The AMP.
Yeah, I want to move that. How do I move that over there?
You click. Click drag on the left in the left thing. I don't know what that's called. Click drag, and you drag it to the top right where it says chat.
I click drag.
So just like click it and drag it over.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do that
now
right,
you need
did I?
to. Yeah, not really. I think. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's where it should be. On the right side of the editor.
Okay, hold on a second here. This stuff sounds good. I only see Copilot. What did I do? Oh, there it is. AMP.
There it is.
Okay. Now, if I want to turn off the Copilot stuff, though, right? So I don't. I mean, if I'm going to use AMP, I shouldn't really have Copilot on, correct?
I think so. I'm biased though, but I don't know.
But I want that. I want the pure experience because then I'm going to lose my mind here.
It wouldn't interfere with what we're doing. I think it wouldn't interfere.
I don't know what I just showed everybody.
They also change the settings every week. I don't know how to hide it.
Yeah, I don't. I see the. What is that supposed to be? A bunny or a bear? Here, no code completion for sure.
That's the Copilot robot.
I don't know. Does anybody know what that icon is? Here, Copilot, enable, disable. Oh, we can do it here.
No.
You can probably just disable the extension.
Oh, is there an extension?
Just disable the extension
by now.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
But, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's the GitHub code. Yeah, you can disable. There you go.
There it is.
And now, yeah, it's both disabled.
Okay.
And then just restart it. Restart the extensions.
The blue buttons.
I should be able to just say developer a reload window, right?
Reload window.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yep.
So
Okay. Right.
that is now. Oh, that was smart. That's why I keep you guys around. Okay. So I got, look at that little cross, right? Nice. So you're done. Perfect. Now I'm
really quick, Bill. We are blocking the view. Like our circles are blocking the view. So maybe we can move our circles to the file.
Oh, yeah. How about I just put us down here for a minute?
That works too. Yep.
Let's just put us down here. We're not going to do anything down here. Good call. Okay. See, I could just move you guys around. I feel very powerful.
I'm going to shake my head whenever that happens.
All right. So this is cool, right? This is the new standard sort of thing on my right side. I've got a box, threads, some settings. Let's go through the settings real quick. So I got some key. Thank God I can't see. I got my account. MPC servers right now I don't need. I got this thing called Playwright. Provides browser automation capabilities. Oh, Playwright's a testing framework, isn't it? I don't need that right now.
I think it once was, but maybe it still is. But basically, the Playwright MCP server, this is a recommended one because we use it. It allows you to give your agent the ability to open the browser. And then you can, for example, when we do front-end dev, and we have like components or whatever, then you can say, open this website, and then it can see whether it renders or not, or HTML, and then it has like a nice.
Oh, that's for all the front-end stuff. Yeah.
But also for any API, I guess. Yeah.
I turn off all notifications and sounds because I'll go crazy. Extended thinking. What is that?
It's what the models do, where they give you like a chain of thought thing. So since I think a year now, we have something called reasoning models, which are these large language models that output thoughts before they come up with the actual reply.
Yeah, with that think tag or something. Yeah.
Exactly. And this enables it or disables it. There's a lot of tea leaf reading where people say, oh, if I have it on, it's 10 times better. Or if, whatever, I keep it on.
Just see money. I just see cost there. This is my brain. I just see like, that's going to cost me more money.
Just gave you $90, dude. Keep it on.
I don't like to-dos. He's like, shut up, Bill. I just gave you $90. Spend it. That's why I told you, man, I'm aging out. All right. I don't like to-do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep the extended thinking there though. Okay. That's fine. So do I get autocomplete with this thing too for free here? Or I guess
it's called AMP tab. That's the thing in the bottom. So AMP itself is the agent, which I think we should focus on for this. And then you can use AMP tab, which does like the Copilot style inline completion, auto completion.
Okay, I just enabled that. So
all right, sweet.
I'm assuming that's on now. So that's like simple. There isn't a lot of settings there.
No.
Okay. So we think that we've got everything set up. So I created my account. I got a couple bucks in there. Hold on, let me see something.
Yeah.
I got a couple bucks in there. I've got the VS Code integration. There it is here.
Yes.
Just going through everything again. That had an icon here, but we moved it over here.
Yeah.
And then there weren't any real settings to change there, and it wasn't there. So here's a couple things I don't see.
I said it's a one-click setup. It was
it is.
The sweating stop worked perfectly the first try.
No, I love this so far. I like the simplicity of it. What I don't see is my options on models, auto models, blended models.
No model selector. No
model selector. So that's it. So I love that. Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, wait a second here. All right, Kevin, ask your question, then I'll ask my question.
Okay, so I have a little secret. I tried this out yesterday, and I installed it, and I was curious, and I actually played with AMP, and I tried to do some agent like workflow with it, and I actually liked not having the model selection, because that has already bit me with Cursor before, where I forget to change it. What was that?
Kevin is a smart guy.
Yeah.
Well, I keep Cursor on auto. I don't play with that anyway, but
I like using Claude 3.5 when I was doing my stuff. I just found that just having it in one model was a little more consistent, I felt like, in the way it responded to me. But having it in auto is significantly cheaper. So with AMP not having that selection, I think avoided that issue where I was asking simple questions to a model that was more expensive when I didn't need to.
Yeah. For us, it's not. So the backstory is, in short, that Quinn and I, the CEO of Salesgraph, we realized that these models are really good at being agentic. This was start of the year. That means they're really good at modifying files, editing code on their own. Kind of, you give them access to the file system and let them do their thing. And we realized that most tools do not lean into this, because what they have to do is they have to match their cost to make some money off of the $20 a month subscription. That means they want to, with any possible thing, limit the amount of tokens that go to you or to the model. And we said that's holding it back. Like the models are getting cheaper over time. It's still expensive, of course, right? But they're getting faster and they're getting cheaper. And what we want to do is we want to unleash them and give you the best possible experience. And yes, that might be more expensive than a $20 a month subscription, but we truly believe that it's better results.
And I think, honestly, even if it's more expensive, if you're getting better results with less fiddling with it and changing questions, then it actually might end up being cheaper in the long run because you're getting your solution faster.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay,
I think
so. So I have no idea what models I'm using, other than you telling me that we're using Claude 3.5 or
right
some
now
mix of models.
it's Sonnet 4, and then for some sub agents we use O3 from OpenAI, and there's Gemini being used for certain things. So it's a selection of models, but the main thing is Sonnet 4 right now.
Okay, here's the other interesting thing, right? I live on airplanes. None of your tooling works the moment you're on an airplane, unless you pay for internet.
Ollama also doesn't work. Come on, man.
Ollama works locally, bro.
It's not a good that's the point. Like, it's this. There was a Hacker News comment like 3 months back where people were like, some guy was saying, hey, I was a skeptic about AI stuff and blah blah blah, and then he said, okay, I need to try this out. And I think he took like $100 or something, and he signed up for a weekend for all of the, whatever, OpenAI, Anthropic and whatnot. And he said it's night and day. There's like, I use a local model, I use a distilled 4B parameter model version of this just to save costs and to run it locally. It's night and day. It's like sitting in a golf cart versus sitting in a Porsche or something.
No, that's fair. I'm with you 100%. I've worked on, again, with Prediction Guard. I get you. You need the level of accuracy at this here. The 8B is not going to work as good as a 70B. Like, I'm with you there. I've had to, over the last 10 years, structure my life to be able to work disconnected, right? And this is the first tooling that I've seen in my life where you have to be connected to use it. And there's no way around it. It's interesting, like the things that and it's really not a big deal anymore to get connected on an airplane. Like, you don't need a huge amount of bandwidth. But
it's still an issue. I don't know if you've if you've ever seen Cerebras or something like this, where they have like super fast inference for some models because they built their own chips basically. And when you see this, like, let's say a normal model like this has like 50 tokens per second. Cerebras had models running with 3,000 tokens per second, right? And it's just, when you extrapolate the current development and say these models will get faster and it will get cheaper, and then the computers will get bigger and the GPUs will get faster, and we might be able to run these in the future locally. That's going to be amazing, right? But I don't think we're there yet.
No, but that's the same thing I heard in 1987 when this guy told me that we'd all be programming in BASIC today because
I
the
know.
hardware would be so fast. Right?
I know.
All right, so let me ask you some more technical questions here. Are you running an LSP server behind the scenes here that's then talking to source graph infrastructure? How are these
No.
interactions happening here?
We should try it. But it's truly, if you read through, we have a podcast on our website, we have writing, we're saying, look, the magic is in the model. The models, they're getting so good, we need to rethink how we use them. And what AMP is the way I describe it is as a wooden scaffolding around the model. The model is the smart thing. The model is the big thing. So what we provide is the UX and the UI around it. And ideally, if the model gets smarter in a half a year, then it's going to fall away and we might need to do less stuff. But
you're orchestrating all the interactions with the LLMs. That means
but the AMP ethos is also to get out of the way of the model and give you direct access to the model and not kind of hide it behind something and pretend that it's not there. It's truly.
But what I'm asking is this: I'm now in VS Code. VS Code in and of itself is it needs like LSP based services, right? So
yeah.
So when I installed AMP, are you running some sort of service like Go Team does?
No, we integrate with VS Code. So if you have LSP servers running and they show diagnostics or errors at, whatever it's called in the editor, and then AMP edits a file and it makes a mistake, and then it can see the diagnostics. Or if in VS Code, if you tell AMP, hey, format this file, please, it will use whatever you have configured in VS Code. So in Go imports or Go fump or whatever you use, it might access that.
Oh wow. Okay, but this is all running inside VS Code then.
It's an extension. All that. So basically, the extension talks to VS Code. It accesses your files. It reads the files. It whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. What I got like another 20 minutes with you, right? So
can we do something dumb just to walk you through this? Like,
let's do it.
Let's go in your text box. You can keep the file open, or let's whatever. And write in the text box. You want to create something in a new project.
Well, you tell me what you want to do. Like I have things I want to code here, but we can play with it we wanted to code.
I just want to show you real quick, like what goes on. So if you go in the text box on the right and you say, translate the code comments in this file into German or something. Yep. Now you hit command return. Boom. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. There's your extended thinking. So now the agent, like again, it's just a model. So it decided on its own. This is not us. The agent decided I need to read that file. So the first tool call you see here was that it read the file. And then the second tool call was that it edited the file. So then it did a third one that apparently failed if you open it. Like if you uncollapse it. There you go. I think it sometimes gets something wrong. But now it changes stuff. So it does this on its own. So there's no, most tools, they pretend or they kind of don't want to kill the, say, impression that there's some magic going on. But what's happening here is what I described in my article that you had open in your browser tab. It's a model, you give it access to tools, and then you ask it to do something. And what the model then does is it decides when and how to use these tools, and it's going to edit some files.
Now,
surprisingly fails.
Okay, so from a UI perspective, one thing I love about Cursor is that in the editor, it will let me accept or reject the change, where this is just like...
Exactly. But
here's
the issue. So do you know about the context window of an LLM? Like roughly what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever it reads a file, all of this, like what you see on the right, this is one context window. This is one conversation. And you used up, it says in the bottom right, you used up 11% of the 168K tokens. And Claude has like 200K tokens context window, and 32K are reserved for the output, 168K. Okay. So all that you see here is in that context window, all the file edits, all of the file reads. And when you talk to it, you build up this context window, and then you can refer to other stuff in the context window. You can say, look at this file, and then you have this in the context window. Then you can say, explain what this file does, right? And then it has this in the context window. The problem with accept or reject stuff is the model wants to edit this stuff, and it goes through and edits it, and it thinks it edits it. The models are not trained to ask the user to accept or reject in that sense. So if you then say, I want to undo this change, I want to undo that change, the model's view of the world is that it made those changes. But in your editor, the view is, oh, I didn't accept half of these. So if you then in the context window say, and now do this, the model is confused because it thinks it made those 10 edits when in fact it only did 5 or something. So I know there's people who argue against this, but we're pretty strong believers in like the accept. Like I think afterwards is fine, but the hardness of every time the model wants to do something, you give the user the ability to undo it right there. I don't think that's good UX for agentic workflows.
I like this, right? I can go in there and see
Yeah,
right,
this one
but
failed, I think.
it didn't.
Yeah, kind of the model. I don't know what's going on, but this is basically the model did a wrong thing. It called the tool with the wrong input.
Now, let's say I just wanted to undo this one. What you're saying is just come here and
edit it. Just I mean, it's a
and just edit it myself.
version control.
That's fair.
And then you edit.
No, I mean that's fair.
You can say undo that one change. You can tell the model too, right?
How do you think? So, what would be the best way to now say undo the change on line 209? Undo the change.
Yeah, something like this, or don't translate chat bus or something. I don't know. It depends. It's
that's essentially when I did my playing with it yesterday. That's what I found is like, especially if you're doing like large changes, like I was kind of letting it run with the code and it did, 100, 150 line changes. But sometimes I want to see maybe not reject or accept, but in the actual code itself, I like seeing kind of like the green and the red. Like, okay, this is what changed on this line. And just scroll through the code naturally rather than like the files.
Well, you know me. That's how I work, right, Kevin? Like I already kind of old school work that way.
But you could use just the normal version control stuff for this, right? Like
for sure. Yeah. Oh, that's true. I've gone in here and just said,
and then you can see it. Exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
That's kind of what I do, and I think we might be biased, but it's this. Some people say, "Oh, the model should make commits for me," and yes, we have some of this, but I'm kind of hardliner on like the last thing I want is this thing to mess with my Git. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
That's my safety line, and I sometimes stage stuff, I unstage stuff, I do a commit, and then I send it off on a goose hunt and whatnot, and
So I tend to use the code complete much more than the agent. Well, in Go, I rarely use the agent to make code changes and do stuff. What I've used the agents for the most in Cursor is sort of like linting and maybe cleaning up some code, like again in Python, like how do I make this more idiomatic, or do you see things that could be better? As opposed to like what we just did. Though actually you want to do something that would be super interesting with AMP. Okay, we're going to test AMP to the next level. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's write
while
some
I have
code.
you here. We're going to do this. Hold on. Okay. This is the repo that I teach. I don't know why you're doing that. This has a very sort of rigid structure in terms of, say, a CRUD-based API. Okay, so here's something that's it, right? So I have a domain that manages users. There's data models, and everything else is fairly consistent with it in terms of what you can do with that model, right? Like create a user, update a user, delete a user. When you want to add a new domain, it's a lot of copy and paste. So one of the things I was playing with, I don't remember if I was doing it with Copilot or Cursor, was I had a prompts. I was playing with this idea of, okay, here's a prompt. So create a new business domain package called this, and here are your data models. And it worked pretty good. I think I was using the Copilot agent for that. Like this stuff is interesting to me when it comes
Let's
to
do
the
it.
agent. So
Copy it, open amp, throw it in, let it
And
rip.
before you do that, I had a question.
yeah.
What the agent MD file, like
Yeah, that's
more in like what is that giving me as a benefit compared to not
so.
using it?
The HNMD file is basically something that gets attached to every conversation in the context window. And what people put in is kind of stuff like this, not with like in the imperative sense, but more, hey, in this app, in the, I don't know, in the app folder, that's our in the API folder, that's our HTTP REST API. In business, we have the business logic. And here's how you run
Okay.
the tests. Here's how you compile it. And you, in our agent.md file, we have stuff like in the server component, that's the server side of things. Then VS Code is the VS Code extension, CLI is the CLI extension. Here's how you run this. Here's how you debug this. Here's
Is
how
it
you
like
run
the
this.
system prompt for the, is
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
your
where
personal
it's your
system
system
prompt.
prompt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's your personal system prompt per project or even per subfolder, or you can have one in your home directory too.
But I don't have one in here. It's working.
Yeah, you don't have one.
Fine.
It says here you could create one if you say here in the
But do
in
I
your
don't need
newsletter.
it. I don't
Yeah,
need
you
it.
don't need it. We can just hit send
Yeah.
on this prompt.
Okay,
I mean, it
let's
would
see what happens.
possibly improve, but let's see.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, the system prompts can definitely improve things. All right, let's see what happens. So just as a bare minimum before I run this, right? The idea is for this system to go ahead, add a new package here, leveraging the user one as its model. Oh no, product one as its model. But using these data types. All right.
Yeah.
I
While it's
think
running,
yeah.
in general, with these tasks, I often try to give the agents like a way how they can check their work. And the realization is, what I keep saying in a joking ways, the models are just like us. Like I cannot write 300 lines of code without checking the compiler, and the models can't either. So if you tell them whenever you do something, run go test or run go build to get compiler feedback so it can fix stuff, that helps them with like some complicated tasks. And here
Oh,
just
that's
seems
interesting.
Which
yeah,
I ran into that. I ran into that in my usage of it, and I liked it a lot. I had it doing basically builds every so often to check its work.
it's so the most mind-blowing thing is, okay, it doesn't sound super impressive, but that's to me agentic programming. So if you say half a year ago you had to write SQL queries, what you would do is you open ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, you paste your schema and you say, here's other queries, write me a new query that does blah 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 blah. With an agent, you can theoretically say, and I did this a bunch, you say, just run pSQL on the command line, figure out what the schema is, and then write me a query that queries this. And what it will do is it will run pSQL. It will use the \d thing to get the schema, and then it will run a query, and it might fail, and then it will retry it with the information. And it's like, oh, the users table doesn't exist. Oh, it's called user singular. So let me try this. And it's the feedback loop of, what I'm doing, how it works, and whether it compiles or runs it makes them go 10 times longer. It's mind blowing. So does this look correctish, or what's the?
I asked it to do this. So let's see.
Yeah.
This is what I gave it. So let's take a look at this would be the interesting one. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I tried to write this tooling before all these LLMs came out. I tried to use AST to do
Yeah.
this sort of stuff, and I got it working as long as I never changed anything in the project, right? But then
Yes.
when I started changing the project, all that tooling fell apart and I threw it away. And I waited until this sort of existed. But this is ridiculous because one of the things I'm trying to teach in my classes is that if you can come up with a proper project structure and architecture, something that can be done in a way like consistently like this, then this
Mhm.
tooling, it does 80% of the boring, like to copy and paste this, you'll shoot, but now you don't, who cares? Like it just did everything really, really
It's
well,
kind of
actually
the
here.
I mean, you've been around much longer than I have, but it's there's
It's
a certain
amazing.
type of project where a programmer thinks, "Oh, we can get this. Like if we just parse this and we encode all of this and then we do this." And then you know that it won't work because you reach the point where you have 90% working and the 10% will kill you because you will never get those edge cases right. And LLMs are pretty good at kind of papering over this and taking like fuzzy requirements and turning them into other stuff. And for stuff like this, like, hey, look at these 5 files and create me a new file that's kind of like this, but does this. You don't need to write like a parser or an AST Walker transformation thing. It can get you pretty far.
But the one thing I want to tell everybody is if you're not designing and architecting and structuring your projects in a
Yeah.
way that are going to be LLM friendly, which is I've been trying to
Yep.
teach for the last 6 years, then this tooling can't help you either.
Yeah.
And so it's
There's multiple things emerging where people are like, loosely coupled code is good, where it's like it's a slightly different. It's everything we know about writing good modular code with the added thing that now code generation is cheap, right? So you might say, yes, we have like different subdomains here, and we have different folders for different parts of the code base and so on. But with an agent, what you also might want to do is, well, can I just execute this one part of the code base? Do I have like a main function that can execute just this part and just test the database state? Because then I can point the agent at just this and can exercise only this part without having to boot up the whole server. And finding these like perforated lines and where you can put like the agent as a lever in and then lift it, that's I don't know. That's what's happening right now. That's I think what a lot of people are finding out now.
so it did an
What did
amazing
it do?
job. It didn't do the tests right. But
Did it
like
remove all the tests, or what did it do?
so I do these table tests basically for
Yeah,
this stuff because they're so table tests, right? For this
yeah.
stuff. It didn't do that. It tried to write its own what it thought would be tests. But like this doesn't bother me because I
You
would
could,
just give it a new
yeah.
prompt for this, right? Like
In
just
the
focus on
agent.md,
this.
you would say, "This is the test I want you to emulate," or always use table-driven tests or whatever. But did you
Yeah.
ask it to run the tests? Run the
Well,
tests
these
that you create.
well, these tests are useless to be honest with you. I
Just
could run
have it
them, but
run. Come on.
you want
Yeah,
AMP to run the tests?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Run the
I've never
tests
had
that
an
you
agent.
created to make sure they work.
So what would you ask it to do here?
Run the tests that you
run the
generated.
run the new test you generated.
Yes.
Oh. See, this
So
is
now,
I don't do
hopefully,
these things in my editor normally. I go to the terminal, but okay, that's fair.
does it work? There you go.
Yeah, it passed it.
Perfect. The test. Yeah, but yeah, did only tested one? No,
That's
Oh
all it
no, it's
did.
one.
It
Is it
just
one
built one
folder?
test.
Ah,
Well, that's
got
all
it.
it did. I just had to do one thing at a time. And I'm okay with that. I don't need it to go super crazy, but now I would tell it do the next one, right? And that's fine with
Yeah.
me. I don't need it to go, but still everything else that it did here was spot on. Now I can just spot check it with my eyes. And what would have taken an hour now took a few minutes.
Yeah.
The last time I ran this, I think I did it with Copilot's agent, and it didn't do as good of a job as I'm seeing here. But that was probably 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But these
I mean,
tests would have to be run.
I still find that Copilot to me is like subpar compared to Cursor and even AMP. I tried it yesterday just to compare everybody, and it's just it's not the same.
That's what people say.
Okay. So
I think
this is
okay. We're throwing it away. Yeah.
I'm throwing it
All
away.
the-
It's fine. I was just curious how that worked.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me get rid of this thing. Okay, so what time is it? I only got a couple more minutes with you. So this is what we're gonna
Yeah,
do.
you got 15 minutes there.
For the second half of the show, we have some things that we have to code. I got to go back. Where's my cursor? There's some things that we wanted to code today, but I wanted to do it exclusively with AMP now. But the majority of the time that I'm going to be spending with AMP, at least in the next hour, will be the code complete stuff, which I'm assuming I'm just going to get for free as I start typing and things like that.
It says bottom right, you have AMP tab enabled. So yeah, it should be on. Yep, it's on, I think. Let me make a note. We should say here that it's enabled.
Disable globally, disable. All right. So yeah. Yeah, you should have. Somebody told me that this was not a bear; it is a octo.
Yeah, the octo.
Octocat.
Robot.
It's a little octocat. You need an amp animal here, man.
I want an orb, like a mysterious orb from outer space.
Well, you have that icon actually on the homepage. On that homepage, that's you should.
Yeah,
like that. Anyway, that's funny stuff. Okay, so this is good. So this was, I guess I had this installed already. This was as easy to install as I saw with the Copilot and or the cursors. Well, the cursor's all integrated. So a couple times while we were talking, I went back here. And okay, so now I've just spent about $1, less than $1, right? $1.43 so far today. So what happens when I
code too, right?
That was a lot
Like
of code.
it was. What was it like? I think it said 600 lines or something.
Yeah, 600.
Yeah, that wasn't a joke.
Something there.
That wasn't a joke. That's fair. Personal stats. So I mean, that wasn't a joke. What happens when I run out of money? Because I didn't do an automatic reload here.
You would get an error that says you ran out of credits, and then you can say put more money in or not. But it's no. You can if you do automatic reloading, and I think if you click on configure, you can then say when it reaches this level, recharge up to here.
Yeah, like I do with my tolls. Like put another $10 on there, and but
yeah.
I want to see something here for a second. Cursor. What did I? Oh, does that? Why did you? Oh, agents. I want to. What's going on here, dude? I wanted to see the cursor pricing for a second. I don't remember what I paid. I think I did this. So, but I think I got it for $15, didn't I? A month?
Because you did the annual. You did the annual one.
I did the annual. So I paid like $160 for the year for this. And I felt like that was worth $160. So, and I'm bringing that up again because now I want to see that's $160 unlimited, right? Because I don't use a special model. So it will be interesting now, though I have no idea how much of that I've actually spent on the cursor side. One would argue because it's a flat thing. But so I'm going to use AMP now for the next couple months, and I have trainings coming up. So that will be good. And we'll see what that number looks like.
So right now, AMP tab, the inline completion is free. So that's not going to cost you anything.
So the only cost is going to be every time I come in here and ask it to do something.
Yeah.
And the code complete is using, like I know on the Copilot side, the code completion uses different models than the agent stuff. Those are actually two separate systems.
Yeah. We have a custom model. It's a different use case. It's the agent is an agentic model that knows how to use tools, and the code completion thing is it's truly like just made for given the cursor on this line and this file with these errors and these diagnostics and whatever, and what the user did, what do you think is the next thing I should propose to the user? And it's trained or tuned to do this. And we have a custom model. It runs on custom provider for high performance and low latency. Yeah.
So I want to ask you another. Hold on a second. I want to ask you another question now, because I got a couple more minutes with you. You're working on this stuff day in and day out. Like that's your day job, right? I'm assuming you're like a VI user. You're in the terminal, so you've got tabs open with these agents. So when you're running AMP, you're not running it inside of VS Code. You're running it on the CLI in a separate window.
No. I was a hardcore VI user. Then I worked at Zed building a new text editor for last year, and kind of tore myself out of the terminal, and now I'm using VS Code like 90% of the time.
So you're doing what I'm doing now. You're in VS
I'm
Code.
doing what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
I have the VI key bindings in VS Code, but I'm using what you're doing. The new thing as of a few weeks ago is that we have an AMP CLI, and I'm using that a lot in the CLI. And I'm also experimenting with what you were saying, like having multiples of those running. But I don't know if I'm not smart enough, but if I have more than 3 things going on, or let's say more than 2 even, I'm losing track of where things
Thank you for saying that, because my brain shut down when I see those, when people are coding like that. It looks cool, but I don't get it.
I mean, it's so there's multiple ways you can do agentic programming. I think one is throwaway scripts. That's where it shines. You're like, I have like a folder full of JSON files. Write me a bash script that finds, or node script that finds me all of the JSON files that contain this and this and that, and it's going to knock this out in 20 lines, and it's going to run it itself, and it's going to determine whether it works or not, and then done. You don't have to watch it. It can do this. The other agentic stuff is small changes where you're like, oh, this button, can you make this so that the flexbox blah blah blah, which I can never remember, and it's on the right side, and it does this. What I also do is I call this paint by numbers programming, which is I know the code base and I put in the numbers and the lines, so I know like this is where this should go in this file, this is where this should go in that file, and all I have to do is say, do the typing. So then I go, write me these 5 methods to update a user in the database here in this file, and then it writes this, and I'm like, okay, now write a test where we use this other thing to fill the test database and execute it and whatnot. And in that case, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I just use this as like a accelerator to take the typing away from me, or the fixing of diagnostics or imports or whatever. And then there's another mode that I sometimes use. I use this on Sunday, which is I know what I want to have, but I don't know exactly how I would do it. And then I just send the agent off and say, like, how would you implement this? And then sometimes it surprises me and it gets it right first time. That was this morning where I asked it for a small feature. And sometimes it just shows me, oh, this is not how I would do it. And that sounds bad, but we've all done this, right? We've all said, oh, let's build this. And then you start typing and you're in file 3, whatever. And you're like, we can't do this because we don't have the user at this point. The user is not locked in or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, we have to rethink this. And sometimes you do this with agentic coding. And there's multiple ways, but it's basically, the way I think about it is, if you have these tiny robots that you can send off on these rails, and you can give them a task and they go off, and what do you use them for? And how much leverage can you get by having tiny robots that can write code for you? And it's not, yeah.
So here's something I've done too. I'm actually curious, because I did this with Cursor, and I found code that I ended up wanting to change. So So here's an auth package, right? So I was almost like, review the, let me just get the relative path. Review the code in the auth folder and tell me if you see anything that is not idiomatic or could be written better. Like I did this at one point, and here's two cool things that happened. I did see some things that definitely could have been changed, and I saw things that I didn't do because they were tedious, but it did it. And I went, oh, this is good, because I wasn't going to do that, right? Like, that was tedious. But since it did it for me, dumb things almost like switching to a fumped.sprintf or just
there's something, you said this at the beginning, right? It doesn't give you a speed bump necessarily, but there's this effect where it lowers the required activation energy, where you're like, I could do this now, but then I would have to do this, and then I would have to do this. But if somebody else does it for me, I might as well, and then I just have to do the last 10%.
Right. No, right. That was like, so here, so this is right. So error message inconsistent should be a predefined error use disabled. But I would argue that I don't need the error variable because the other side isn't going to check a variable, right? So this is a case where I'd go, I hear what you're saying, but I think that would be a identifier pollution because I don't need the extra identifier. Now, here's something that's interesting. Should I be using, we're just going to go for a second. Should I be using errors.new since I don't need any formatting? Okay. Like, that's an interesting question that you can get into. And one could argue, like, I could make an argument, well, now I already have errors here. So I probably should be using errors.new for this. And I would have been more excited if that's what it told me to do than create an error variable. But these are interesting things sometimes when I'm a little not bored, but I've got little time. What is it going to
do? Something else. Type in it as a reply. Just ask, use the Oracle to review this.
Use the Oracle?
Yeah. Oracle with No. Oracle. ORA. Yeah, you got to flip. Yeah,
sorry.
Oracle.
To
review the package or whatever.
Review the auth package.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. So what it will do now is we have a tool for the agent called the Oracle. And behind the Oracle is a smarter model. It's OpenAI's O3. So what we now see is the agent says, I'm going to ask O3 for a review, and it's send it this message. You can uncollapse this and see what's going on. And the O3 it's a slower model, but it's smarter. So now we have this smarter model that's not as good as coding, maybe, or modifying files. It's now going to look at your code in this package, and I think it's 3 lines or 3 files, and then it's going to come back with something that's often pretty smart. And I use this for bugs or race conditions or like other stuff, and it's like, please consult the Oracle. And it sounds cool to say it, and it looks cool, but it often really comes back with some impressive stuff. I don't know,
but it's costing me some real money now. Like,
O3 is actually cheaper right now than Sonnet 4. So
this isn't going to cost me more. I see.
No, it's just another round trip. I don't know how long it's going to take because the OpenAI API doesn't allow us to show real-time thinking tokens. So it might be thinking and it might take a minute or something. There you go. So here it came back with, we can either read through all this, but now the agent gets this review back from this other smarter model, which is a comprehensive report.
I have to read this now.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it said, okay, that is good. And that's fair. I mean, this is example code. So that's fair. Huh. I have to read this. I don't want to do this in front of
Yeah,
everybody.
what does it take? Could derive from file names. Error forbidden. Avoid the magic number 7 for slice.
Oh, where's that?
That's a small thing. Use len bearer.
But it's not telling me where I did the magic number 7.
Yeah, but if you go down, scroll down. Suggested
refactoring.
Yeah, I don't know why it messes up the.
I'm going to look at this later, dude. This is interesting. But I find that this is good stuff to use the agents with.
Yeah. So with this stuff, right? Like reviewing, one problem, and this is what I'll end with here, is that people anthropomorphize these models where it's like, oh, it knows about this or blah, blah, blah. But in fact, they truly are magical text completion engines in some sense. And when you ask them to review stuff, they are trained to please. They're not trained to push back on your request or something, right? It's kind of like when you have like a 200-line PR and you ask like some over motivated, say, junior engineer who really cares about, doing everything in one line, they will nitpick it for you, right? Even if it's not a problem. And I think sometimes you have the same thing with these models where they're over eager to do stuff and they're over eager to come back with a reply, even if the better reply would be, this code is fine, dude. Like, you don't have to change it,
I agree. You know what's funny, dude? This thing was right. I had a variable here and I didn't use it. What the heck?
There you go. There you go.
What the heck? Now,
Okay.
I like
because
I like
it's ordered,
this.
the linter doesn't say it's unused
It
because you
saw it.
exported it.
I don't know why. Like, that should have been. I bet you I'm using it. So I'm gonna look at this code.
I got
But that's crazy. Now, this is interesting to me. I went out of my way not to use the JWT library and to use OPA for everything. Like, I went out of my way for that because I didn't want to be tied to Go related code for token stuff, right? So I find it interesting that it thinks that's a critical security issue. But this is interesting. I'm going to read this later when we're done later today. But okay,
Guys,
so I am now. Yeah, I know you got to jump. So thank you for your time here. If we need you again, I'll pull you in next week. But I'm going to use AMP now. I've done a month of Cursor. We're going to do a month of AMP. I'm going to look at what I'm spending. Appreciate the credits. And I do a bunch of training next month. So people will see AMP next month, which is good. And then I'll let you know if I need anything, bro. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Let me just see what happens on this view now. Okay. So
and then real quick, like where you said you were going out of your way to use JWT and certain things like that, those are probably things you can put in the prompt itself when you're sending this thing an initial message. Like, hey, I did this on purpose. This is on purpose. This is on purpose.
Maybe, but at the same time,
it'll maybe avoid it.
That's fair. But am I that arrogant to think that I shouldn't necessarily listen to that?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
I mean, I
don't know.
Tend not to do that because I'm genuinely curious on what it's going to come back to me with. Like, maybe my thought process was wrong. So I like it to kind of second guess me in a way.
Now here's the other thing that's interesting, okay? And I didn't say this when Thorsten was here, but everybody's using the same models at some level. Cursor's using these models. I don't know what GitHub's doing because we don't think the quality is there. AMP is using these models. He basically said it, right? All they've done, which isn't easy, by the way, so I don't want to like downgrade it, is they're basically orchestrating interactions with the models and then taking those responses and doing things here, right? But the real intelligence behind the changes and the stuff is coming directly from the models. And the models are getting better and better and better and better. What you're now going to be paying for at some level is who can integrate this better into your editor and your editor experience. Now, I can make an argument right now that Cursor, because they made a copy of VS Code, if you're okay with using VS Code, has some better editor integrations. Though, again, how many times you hear me complaining, it's in my way, it's in my way, it's in my way. AMP kind of went, I don't want to be in your way, though we're going to see code completion soon, right? For
Yeah.
me, I feel like I'm more in tune with the AMP if it's giving me the same information.
Which is where I was thinking, like, AMP seems more like, I like cursor because I like having, even if it's in my way some of the times, I like seeing the instant feedback. Okay, you change this, you change this, you change this. But I think for like you, that you like the more minimalistic look on your IDE, I think AMP is going to be really good.
I think for Go coding, AMP is going to be more in tune, but when I have to do more of the Python coding right now, I think cursor is going to be more for me because I need the extra feedback on the linter issues and all of that, which obviously I don't think I'm going to get from AMP because AMP isn't trying to be a linter as well, where cursors added that extra extended sort of linting, right? So I have a feeling right now what's going to happen is when I'm coding in Go, it will be this, and then when I'm coding in almost any other language, I'm going to be in, maybe I'm going to be in cursor. I don't know, but we'll see.
Which is fine too if you're using multiple tools for different things. I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Of having all this
Yeah, you should use
tooling
the
is you can pick and
best
choose.
hammer. Yeah, I mean, why not use the
Exactly.
best? Okay, so that was really cool. I just remember when the AMP first came out, I tried it and I just feel like I wasn't ready. Maybe I just wasn't ready yet, even though we had it there. Okay, so we've got an hour left. We're gonna play. I haven't seen any of the code completion yet with the AMP side, so we'll play with that now. We wanted to, yeah, go on.
Really quick, we should move our circles
Oh yeah,
somewhere where
that's
they're
gonna
not
be
in the.
here. I don't know where to move our circles, bro. Well, I'm not gonna use the. I'll move them down here. I'm not gonna probably use the AMP stuff right now. So, like, I don't need the angelic. I don't need to ask it to do anything. So that should be okay down here, right? Okay. We said that we wanted to write messages to disk using our private key and fix agents from responding to. Oh yeah, so these are two little miscellaneous things. So if we go back and we look at that, I feel really good being back in VS Code. By the way, I was feeling kind of dirty not being in VS Code. It sounds silly, but
It
I've been
does feel
using the.
weird going back.
Oh no, not here. Okay, so here are the messages, right? And what we had done, because we didn't want to deal with it, is we just used the 64 bit encoding, right? That's what we ended up
Yep.
doing, just to sort of be able to write it to disk. And we know that because, again, I could just go ahead and take this message here. And if we go into browser and we do the decode, what was that, 64-bit? Oh, base 64. I keep saying, I knew it wasn't that, base 64. I don't know why. I can never remember that. Right? So we just did some base 64 encoding in there, but it wasn't private. Even if the messages were coming private, somebody could come now into this data file and see everything. Now, the problem was that when we originally tried to write this to disk, we were writing, well, whatever you sent me, I could always decode, but we would need to know what private public key to use. And any of my messages, right? It was a mess. So I think what we need to do is, as part of the package that writes and reads to disk, we should always just write, encrypt everything using our private key, our local private key to disk, right? It doesn't matter about public private keys on your side. It's just, I want to write this to disk. We encrypt it with our private key. We decrypt it with our private key, and you need the private key. Now, obviously, this isn't the most secure system here we built too, because we put our private key somewhere here. Where did I put the private key? That's funny. That's my public key. Where is my private key? Oh, there it is, right? That's the private key for the encrypting and the de-encrypting of data. This was for our decentralized identification sort of key. Remember all that? So whatever, right? But it still would be nice to do that. So we got to remember where all this stuff is. And I think all this stuff was in, can't be an app, SDK. This is what happens when you haven't looked at code again in like how many weeks has it been?
Yeah, in a week and a half, probably somewhere there.
That's the UI client manager. Where is the stuff that we wrote for? You would think it was, that's agent logger signature. Okay, this is really weird, bro. Oh, this is me again, confusing back end with front end. And this is front end stuff. So clients storage. We've been doing that a lot. Confusing. So this DB file was our API to reading and writing to disk. And I think we cheated a little bit here too, because let me see disk again. I think we cheated a little bit because anytime we have the new create database on disk, right? That's fine. Read database from disk, we decode, flush database. So what we did is we constantly just wrote it over and over and over again, right? Like, and we're going to get away with this, but we put everything on. We're not doing it a little bit at a time. We're like reading the whole thing in memory and then we're just flushing it. So that's flushed to disk, this data file, which had my account, contacts, messages. There it is. So read messages, flush message to disk.
Yeah.
You see, we just wrote everything in JSON and we wrote it. But this is good actually, because we're writing one message at a time at least. So we're just appending to the end of it. So actually that's going to save us, because it's not the whole, this is what we were doing for the whole thing here. If I go back, anytime that we get a new, this is what we're flushing every single time, which is fine. The messages, at least, we're just appending at the end based on what I'm seeing here. Flush message to disk. Okay. What's interesting to me is I don't see, when we read the message, and my guess is there's an API here, insert message. I don't see the base 64 stuff anywhere, but there must be some place where we're reading a message. Update contact nonce, whatever. Update contact key. It's not read database. It would be read message. Let me see where this is being used. Read message from disk. This will help me. Oh, there it is. Read a message from disk. Messages. Messages. Huh. I don't know. I don't know where we do the base 64 encoding when we bring it back. But that's okay right now. Maybe because when we start the system up, we have to load the window with all the messages again, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, let's see if we can find that code for a second. That will be under UI. Here.
Print.
Not done there. I wonder how we pulled that off. That's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would think there has to be some base 64 stuff going on. Everything there is in vendor. All right, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I find it very odd that we're writing to disk using here's a flush message to disk, right?
Yep.
Which comes here. Flush message to disk is insert. And insert is right here. Oh no, well, that's just complaining about that. I'm going to look for this call here. Somewhere we're calling insert message.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all done there. Huh. Isn't it weird that it's not obvious how that is getting flushed to base 64 encoding? Oh, but maybe we're doing, oh, I know what's happening. I think the base 64 encoding is happening when we send it over the wire. So we're just blindly able to, like we don't have to do anything because I think the base 64 encoding is it's happening it's happening on the other side. I just don't remember how to. Okay, let's ask the agent because how do you base 64 encode a string and go? Oops. Because I just want to ask it. I don't want it to do anything, right? This is so much better than asking Google. So essentially, there should be this API call somewhere in this code base. And
vendor.
what's got me bothered here is every time I ask for this, it's just in vendor, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
WebSocket.go is using it. Okay.
No, but it's all under vendor.
Yeah.
This is what you get for not looking at code every day. I don't understand this, man. There has to be somewhere in here where we've imported. Yeah, man, that is weird. Okay. This is weird, dude. Weird. I don't know where we're doing it then. But I see it. This is all encoded, the content. And I don't see where we're doing any base 64 encoding. I wonder if I can ask the agent.
Yeah, I'm doing it over here on my side. Just I want to see how it'll do.
Yeah, but I should have told it not to use. Oh, TUI UI client storage, DB file. See, this is where I wish I could click on this and it would take me to where it found it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
on the
it's
line?
taking me.
Like to get to
Yeah.
the line thing?
Yeah. So like that sucks, right? Like this is all vendor that none of the vendor helps me. But this isn't vendor. This is disk.go line 124. But see that sucks because I wish I could just click on this and go to line 124. But that's just a decoding into JSON. It's not going to do base 64. So I don't know, dude.
I mean,
I'm
it is
going to look at this after the show because
okay.
I don't know how that's working. And now we've got to follow that somewhere. Yeah, I don't know how that's working. Actually, until we find that, I'm not even sure we can do what I want to do because actually I'm so confused on what we did here. I'm so confused because here's the message that I want to find that flush message to disk again.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. It's on the call to insert message, right? God, this stuff frustrates me so much. This is a message that came in to the system. It could be encrypted. So here's you've sent me a message here, right?
Yeah.
From you to me. It's got the name. We had a slice of strings because if we encrypt them, we were limited by the size of each string that we can encrypt, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did here is we appended all the messages together again, right? Oh no. I take the existing messages in memory. We append a new message to it. So we have it in memory. Then I create this message that we're going to use for encryption. It has the full content. You see? This has everything. And then we flush that to disk blindly. Open the file, append, write only. We marshal everything to JSON. We write it. Yeah. But that's just a single message, isn't it? But oh, it is a single message, but the message could be multi-parted. Right. Right. It just could be a very long string. The content. We flush that to disk. That's fine. I'm really confused, man.
Yeah, me too.
I don't remember how we did it, and it's not obvious. And we just asked the agent, and it couldn't find anything that's base 64. So we may have to. Okay, so what happens? Let's look at it from the other side here. Where is the code for when I type in a message and I hit enter? It's right here, isn't it? Button handler.
Yeah.
Send message handler.
So we can follow that.
Split message into chunks at 240 bytes, so it can be encrypted. So boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. We have chunks.
Then insert message call on 536.
Pre-processed messages says encrypt. But that's only if we have a public key anyway, right? Process normal messages. Get public key. Unable to read public key.
Message.
There's all the encryption. Yeah. Why is this not obvious, dude? I need everybody on this show to get in this editor. Get in an editor. And I am seriously. What's also weird is what's also weird to me is not everything gets encrypted. Not everything gets encrypted, dude. Calculate the number of chunks. Start chunking. You see here, it says what's on wire, what's on screen, right? So what's on wire, what's on screen, and an error. So if this isn't a command, and if we don't have a key, then what's on wire is what's on screen. Else we encrypt. That's fair, right? And then that gets sent out. Okay, I see that. So now we have on wire, we have on screen. This is what's going on wire. We sign the data. That's going to be the outgoing message. We do a write message. We update the nonce. And then we insert the message into the database here. See this?
Yeah.
That is the on screen, which is not, maybe the base 64 encoding is happening automagically, and we just forgot that it's happening automagically somehow by JSON or by.
I mean, that would have to be
the
case because
it has to be the case.
We're not stating that really anywhere.
Yeah, we're not stating it anywhere. It might just, and we didn't leave a note, so we've just lost all this time. I just find it weird that only the content is, you see there's a slice where we've got comma delimited slices there with the messages. Okay. Well, we're going to find out anyway here. So, but JSON shouldn't be doing that. And I don't know why write would be doing it. But JSON, if it was happening, it would have to be JSON. But I'm so confused, bro. But then why wouldn't this be? Oh, I know what's happening. Damn it. We just lost so much time for no damn reason. JSON's doing it because this is bytes and not a string, dude.
Oh, okay. So JSON is automatically converting the bytes to base 64.
Yes, because we're giving it to it as a set of bytes, not as a string. Damn it.
Okay.
Yes, now I remember.
That makes sense.
Okay. God, I just hate that, dude. Like my brain is just man. I wish somebody had told us on the call. Bill, stop. It's JSON. You use the slice of bytes. That's what it's going to do. Okay. That's what's happening. It's the bytes. So here, okay. So here's the thing. We got this message to flush, right? It's coming from here. It's the content here. So what I want to do is encrypt that data. Encrypt all of it. So when we write it to disk, it's not just say base 64 encoded. It's it's a base 64 encoding of encrypted data that you couldn't do this with, right? The whole point is I don't want somebody doing this. That's the whole
because Okay, so
'Cause
it's
I want my
always going to
messages to be
be
private.
encrypted.
I want everything to be encrypted, but it can only be done with our private key. So what we need is our database system here to accept our private key, essentially. Now, we have code already that's using the private key for the encryption stuff that we had just seen here, right? So if I go back to the send message handler for a second, see on wire on screen, on wire, RSA encrypt, reader, public key. We had a get public key function here. We are in client.go. We had a get public key function where, given a PEM block, we can decode it, parse it. We didn't do things very efficiently here, but that's okay. So the user now, okay, but that was the user key, isn't it? Because in our case, we're having messages sort of going back and forth. All I care about is that this is all done with just our private key itself. Our private key being right here, key.rsa. I'm wondering where we read key.rsa. So if you see here under our TUI UI client id.go, I have this right here. And my guess is there's the file name, there's the RSA private key. This is our key. And what does this code do? Oh, it either creates it or it reads it. And then we also get a public key version of it. So this code right here, this ID code, gives us our private and public key that we would need to encrypt this stuff to disk. This ID thing. So wherever we're calling new ID with a file path somewhere, there it is, main. What a surprise. There it is. Now, if you notice, the very next line is what? Asking for my account. Yeah. So what if we change this and just passed in an ID here? What happens?
Oh, there's a tabbing.
Right? Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. Cool. So that worked. Actually, it's the first time we got to use it, right?
Yeah.
But we need to save this now. So instead of saving this, we're going to save this. And I'm always confused where to hit tab, but it just did that too really nicely, didn't it?
Yep. And
this is much more low key than both Copilot and Cursor, isn't it?
Yeah. I like it though, because I think it's putting it next to the line rather than sort of turn DB.
But it's not a function anymore. It's ID dot. It should be my account ID. So what are we returning here? Oh, not just the ID. It was, let me put this back for a second. So I did something wrong here. I did something wrong here. So I'm going to put everything back for a second. because, okay, let's put everything back for a second. I don't think I wanted to replace this. I think I need to keep that. Because we made I don't know why, but we made a copy of this thing. So instead of replacing it, let's do this instead.
Okay.
And in here, we add that. Now, you know me, I like to keep things in the same order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That way nothing else breaks. But I have our ID. I must have done this just so we could return a copy of this information back when it was needed.
Okay.
Now, at this point, we have our private key and we have our public key, which is cool, right? So let's start with the right side, and then we can start with the, so here's insert message. Okay, I have a private key, I have a public key, and I need to go find that code again here. Let me keep this up. I need to find the code again that did the encrypt. It's here. Let me just steal some of this code here. This is easier than, I think it's going to be easier than I thought. So what happens here? Insert message, append it. That's in memory. Contacts. Now in memory, I don't think we need to keep it encrypted, right? So I think that's going to be fine. I think it's going to be when we flush it to disk.
Flush. Yeah.
Now, the question is, we're going to have to do it at the DB level. I don't think we want to do it at the lower level here. So this content now has to be encrypted. So let's think this out. This message has the content in it.
Yep.
So the encrypted data is going to be associated with message content.
Yep. Do we need to range?
And then our public key is going to be db.id.public key. Now, this thing wants an RSA public key, and this is just a string with it. So we don't, we got to do some more work here then. That's fine. Let's do that right now. When we passed in this ID, it's funny, right? I got I don't need the public key. I have it from the private key. Sorry. If I have a private key, I have a public key. Private key dot public key. Okay. So we encrypt with the public key, we decrypt with the private key. So this will do that. And now we end up with the encrypted data.
Okay.
And then, right, that would be the encrypted data. So that will let us write messages in an encrypted way.
So now whether we send it with because remember we did the option to be encrypted or not, whether we do that, we're always going to have our messages encrypted
with our private public key, because we always have a private public key. We create that at the start. Now, the problem now is on the read side, right? Because we're inserting the
Because-
messages, but we've got to be able to
read them for the UI, right?
yeah, there's going to be some call where we're reading the messages. I have to go find that. So it's going to be at startup, right? So
Yeah.
let's go back to this original code when you first start up, because then once you start up, everything is kind of the same. So user messages, which are the client messages. The question is, how does that get, query contact by ID, query contact by ID, which is here, which is part of storage. So my guess is we have a query contact by ID. There it is. Read messages from disk. There it is. So whatever code we had to encrypt, we need the code to decrypt sort of here. That's line 103. So this would be kind of the opposite of all this sort of stuff here.
Yeah.
On line 103. So you get it reading a message, you have a message, and a message has a name, it has content. So we kind of need to do it in here. I don't know what this looks like yet, but this is de-encrypted. I wonder if I can find,
I think there was code for that.
yeah, it's going to be here. Let's
Yep.
steal this code here. But this is going to be message dot content. Oops. Content. Right. And it's going to be message dot content. I feel like I shouldn't be using message again. I probably can get away with it, but because it's a new variable. And then we decrypt using the private key. And if there's an error, we do this.
Yeah.
And then I like this complete so much better, dude. It's just not in your way. Cursor is constantly like trying to help you too much sometimes.
Yeah. I think it depends on the context. Like here, like Go is like your main language, so I think it's definitely better this way. But let's say like Python, you kind of want that suggestion, I
I
think.
think I need it more, yeah. Okay, I think this will do it for us. I think this will give us our encryption and decryption. Now, at the end of the day, I just needed the private key, right? I mean, if I just do this for a second, just to be a little smarter here, that's all I really needed was the private key. So
Not the ID. Okay.
not the whole ID. So I think if I just save the private key there. Now, I don't need it to be capital, though. Oh, I didn't do capital. Okay. Just to be sort of smarter, right? Like, just keep what you need. There. This way it's just more accurate, right? Because you're being more precise. I just need my private key. Okay. Nice. Okay. So I'm going to do the following, dude. I'm going to close all this. I'm going to push this up to you.
Okay.
But before okay, let me push it up, but do the following before I push it up. Under client DB messages, you got to get rid of all
Yep.
those messages. All right. Oh, we got to turn on our tail scale too, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, let me do this first. Git status, git commit -m, encrypt messages locally, git push. Okay, let's see if we can, I got to turn on the tail scale starting. I've got to come back to our make file and we got to run tail scale up, right?
Yep.
Now that's going to hold a, oh no, that's right. It runs in the background. Okay. So now we're going to do a make run cap. It's taking a while.
Run.
There it is. Make run TUI. Let me know when you have your cap and your TUI up.
I am. Oh.
Okay, I'm going to double click. I've established a connection. Oh, I should see even with that, because we have that other little bug, right? Oh no, that didn't write a message. Good. Okay, establish a connection. Okay, I see that we have the two connections. That might be in there. No, not yet. So don't do anything. Let me just say, hello, Kevin. Did you get that?
Yep, I did.
Okay, so this is just failing. Oh, no, there it is. Okay.
I see it.
So now look at the content that we have. This is for sure. Oh, here. This is interesting because that for sure can't be. Now, if I come here, there's no way, right? Like, oh, what happened there? I decode it. It's just garbage. That's what we wanted. Okay. Now, hold on a second. Now, hold on a second, though. So this is the key now, right? I'm going to quit my TUI.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed that I dropped, right? On your side, that code is still working.
Yep.
How cool is that? It says, hello, Kevin. See that?
Yeah.
It also says
nice.
that you were connected. So now we've got, you send me a message. God, that was easier once we realized that JSON was,
it was just finding where to do it.
Okay. Hello, Bill. Encrypted. Hello, Bill. So you see now nobody can read this unless they've got your private public key.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I also love the way AMP is handling, I think, the autocomplete. It just feels so much less in your way. Like, I haven't yelled at the AI once yet so far, have I? All right. So this is what I would say at this point. I'm gonna shut this down. Just because there's 10 minutes left, but I don't want to start anything new. So I'm gonna shut all this down. I'm gonna push that we fix that last thing. So just updating to do, git push. And I'm gonna turn off my tail scale again. So this was really great. This was a really good day. The AMP I already had an account. I was going to play with it, but I don't think I could appreciate what AMP is doing until I played with Copilot more and I played with Cursor more. I love the idea that source graph or AMP isn't doing anything magical beyond being really good at orchestrating the interactions with the LLM and feeding it
Yeah.
back to you. The editor integration isn't the same as Cursor. But you know me anyway, I don't have a problem with that per se, where I think somebody who's used to having it constantly interacting in your face might sort of miss that on the Cursor side. But I don't
Yeah,
know why. It doesn't bother me.
using it, I definitely did like it. I understood what Thorsten was talking about, where when you're rejecting or accepting certain changes, if you go further in the conversation, it doesn't actually register that you rejected or accepted the change. It just assumes it's always accepted,
Yeah.
basically, from what I
But you
found.
have the other tooling anyway to undo something, right?
Yeah,
So
and sometimes I find it really useful when it gives you all those unnecessary comments, let's say. Like, I just reject the comments. I just need the code change. Okay, continue. And that doesn't really affect the flow of the conversation.
but you know me, I don't use the agent. I tend to use it more for Google search stuff,
Yeah,
right? Than anything else. I tend to.
yeah.
But
Which
that just could
that is another good point too, because Cursor has like an ask mode versus an agent mode. Like that's another thing that I think I haven't played with AMP enough to know if it just does it like magically already. But
but I'm sure it's the way you instruct it. If I tell it edit these
yeah.
files as opposed to find me files, it was listening to that, wasn't trying to edit anything. Where I find it interesting, like in Cursor, if you're not in agent mode, then you could tell it to edit something and it probably wouldn't, right? Like who needs the extra step there?
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's
Somebody
what you
said,
said too.
so
It's
you
how you
don't
ask.
ask it to make comments like Rob Pike. I I don't even know what a Rob Pike comment would look or not look like. So, and Mohammed said hi, which is cool.
Mohammed.
Yeah, Mohammed. Now we gotta get Mohammed up on his tail scale and join it to this group, so we could start trying that again. All right, so we'll be back on Thursday. Let me just
Cool.
go back here for 1 second. So on Thursday, what we're gonna do is do this last little thing and then start doing the data file transfer, uh, where we can do it over our TCP connection. And again, we have that encryption. And then we can start sort of sharing files in a very private way, right? Like we've got a pretty incredible system here that we've done it. Now, on the TLS stuff, I was talking to Florin as well. And he showed me this package, which I have in my browser, luckily. Golang X Crypto has an Acme package that does auto cert, and essentially, there's just there was some code here somewhere, but essentially, I think that's it right there, dude. That would give us TLS at our Go level, because thanks to the Acme protocol, we don't have to worry about downloading our own certs and configuring them. This stuff is all
Okay.
done on the fly. This is how like Caddy now works. It's made life so much. It's made TLS available. So I think with a few lines of code like this, we can have TLS auto magically as well. I think Tailscale can do it, but it would be nice to just. I don't know how to test it. That'd be interesting. But I guess if we establish connections using this new listener, that would be enough. But that gives you now TLS across our connections too when we double click on that stuff. So, oh wait, let me go back to our editor here. So I think this will take a couple of shows for sure. I think we could play with
Yep.
this. This would be fun to then do. But I wouldn't want to do that over our Jetstream, right? I want to do that over our TCP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets interesting too, right? So
Yeah, that's
if we
gonna.
do, you know what? If we do things right, though, no, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what you're using to communicate. I should be able to do TCP to you and Jetstream to Mohammed and still be in a group. So that gets super interesting. And then we should never have left the tests for the end, but so we've got some
Yeah.
more stuff to play with here. I'm kind of excited about that. But all right, so we will see everybody again on Thursday. Check out that AMP tooling. You saw this. You can go back and watch the video again and see what we did. I did have an account already, but it didn't look like it was a hard setup. And I did get $100 worth of credit. Kevin, on your AMP, do you have like? So what it says
No,
0?
I'm a normal user, so I think I start with 10.
You start with $10. I think you
Yeah, I
should
think it's $10 is the
just because
trial.
you're special now. You should tell Thorsten to give you some money, man.
Give me some credits. Let me play with it.
Give me some credits, man. Give me some credits. You should get some credit. You should really ping him. He'll give you some credits, man. I'm sure if you ping SourceGraph, they'll give you a couple more bucks. But it would be interesting to see how far you can go on $10, actually.
How new is AMP? I wanted to
don't-
ask that. How recent they did it.
AMP isn't super. I don't know. Like I want to say I've seen it for a good year now. I don't know if the plugin has a sort of date on it, but no. I think it says that the plugin for VS Code was published in April. So I think at the beginning of this year they made it like GA, generally available to everybody.
Got it.
But you have to understand SourceGraph has been in this business forever. They always had tools and servers that could do code analysis and for every single language. They had integrations even in GitHub where you could click through code as if you were in an editor. They've been at the forefront of developer productivity with this type of tooling. I think the large language models just opened up. It's like they were primed for this, right? They had all the tooling already. They had the infrastructure. They had all this knowledge. And then the LLM came in and just like, if anybody could take advantage of the level, they were there. It's almost like they predicted it. Like, it's like insane to me. I
That's
always
awesome.
thought I never understood how their product was going to work, because would companies pay for this, right? In the beginning. And they did. They had companies paying for all the things that they were doing. And I was so glad for that. But now, right? You've built this platform without LLMs, and now that you have an LLM, it's like sort of next level.
Yeah, now that just kind of like boosts everything.
Yeah.
Makes life easier.
So they had all the tooling already, where anybody that wants to get into this game now are years behind SourceGraph. So I don't know. I'm going to play with it. And I've got a bunch of trainings coming up in August. Now I'm going to be in the UK in a couple of weeks. We'll be at GopherCon USA. So if you take any of my workshops, you'll see AMP sort of running live, and we'll see where that is. But one thing I was going to say to Thorsten was, you have to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your hardware. You got to invest in the software. And if this ends up only costing you a couple $100 a year, developers should get paid for the work they're doing, right? If it's $1,000 a year, I don't think that's reasonable. I think up to about $250 a year. It starts getting a little bit more than that. It just really gets out of reach for developers. But
Yeah.
I think if it can stay within that $200 a year range, plus the autocomplete is free, right? So then it's reasonable, right? I don't know if companies should have to pay for this for all their employees. I think people should invest sort of in themselves and have ownership over it. But that's sort of me. And you've done that, Kevin. I mean, you bought your own MacBook. You've been paying for things, and I think that's the way you should do it. You shouldn't have to rely on your company to do it all the time.
For sure.
All right. we're totally out of time here. So I'm going to end this. I'll see everybody again on Thursday. And now we are powered by AMP.
Nice.
Nice.